Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Robert Meyer Burnett.
My God, it's good to be here.
Jonathan Voico.
Well, my phone goes off. Hello, everybody.
Chris Carr's here.
Hello, everyone.
My voice is your ringtone?
Yeah,
Very flattering.
Oddly enough.
I'm very flattered.
Yeah. I'm very committed to the job. I want to stay,
To stay focused like a method actor.
Yeah.
But
Jonathan, blink twice if you aren't allowed to leave here.
And most
on camera.
importantly,
Oh, God.
you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, goodly for you, we're going to take your live comments and questions. The way you get a comment, question, or a topic on the show for us to address is simply by sending it into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Just send it on in during the show, and as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll address it in the second part of the show. But the good news is the tip link is actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you are listening to our podcast, maybe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Hey, by the way, last night, I'm becoming a little disgruntled with basketball. It's just becoming pass around the perimeter, shoot a three kind of a league.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, Chris knows what I'm talking about.
Come on, you chuckleheads.
Chris is always saying, drive
Great
the
word.
lane all the time.
Every
Drive the
single
lane.
day.
Every day.
That's a note to myself when I'm in the car, though.
drive
Drive the lane.
So,
The lane is all your
but
friends.
last night was special. Last night was the first time Luka Doncic was going to be playing for the LA Lakers. So Ann and I took our friend Ryan. It was for his birthday. And for looking after our dogs while we were up in Canada, we decided to take him to the game. And as soon as we get right outside of our suite, I don't know if you can tell who that is. Right behind us was Magic Johnson.
Oh, dear.
Standing there. And that's a big man.
Yeah.
Like you always see him standing around other NBAers, so you don't really appreciate it all that much. But that dude is tall. And he's in great shape. Because I'm not going to lie, Magic had been getting little chubs over the last couple of years. He'd been enjoying the pie a bit. But, man, when we saw him, his shoulders were big. His arms were big. He'd lost weight. He's looking like really good. But anyway, had a good time. And, again, a big early happy birthday to our friend Ryan. All right, guys. With that nonsense down, let's get into it. And start off with this. Thunderbolts is coming out. I'm super excited about. We're going to talk about our most anticipated Marvel projects a little bit later in the show, but you guys know I'm really excited for Thunderbolts. But one of the big topics of discussion have been around one of the most ridiculous things. What does the little asterisk mean at the end? I mean, to be fair, Kevin Feige did make a big deal out of it at, I believe it was Comic-Con. I think that's where he came out and they put up the asterisk. He says, oh, and yes, the asterisk is there for a reason, blah, blah, blah. So everybody's been kind of discussing and debating, what does the asterisk mean? Some people writing in says, I think it just means that they're not really a team. I'm like, do you put that in the titling and the logo of the movie just for something like that? But there have been other theories. Some people, like Ray, thinks the asterisk looks like a sun, so it's a symbol for century. Okay, I mean, that's not the most far-fetched thing I've heard before. Well, when Super Bowl happened, a bunch of international posters dropped, including this one. You can take a look at it here, which is actually pretty cool. It's the giant asterisk, and it's just not super, not heroes, not giving up. And by the way, I love down at the bottom of this poster.
Oh, my gosh.
Where Yelena is. You just got Bob. Hi. I love that. I think that looks great. But if you go a little further down
That's what she said.
on the poster, if you go, I knew somehow I knew Rob was going to say that.
Sorry.
If you head a little further down the poster, you start to see, go to my screen here. You see the title of the movie, 5.2 Friday. And there's a little something underneath there. Jonathan, you got that?
Boom.
There's a little asterisk that says Avengers are not available. Asterisk, the Avengers are not available. So that has led some outlets, like our friends over at the Direct here, to say Thunderbolts title asterisk meaning confirmed by the studio. I'm not 100% that this is a confirmation that the asterisk is about, oh, the Avengers not available. I do think it's funny and I do think it's cute. But there's a couple things I want to point out. Number one, there's something very curious about this poster. First of all, is that Japanese?
I'm not sure.
It is.
It is. Okay.
Yep.
Why is this a Japanese poster? And yet it says in English, not super, not heroes, not giving up. Why wouldn't that be in Japanese?
Because they're cool. These multilingual stuff.
I was going to say they're better than us and can speak multiple languages.
Yeah, maybe. And then why the small little asterisk underneath? Why not that in Japanese? I mean, if this is a Japanese poster, so there's that little thing. But the other thing that the Direct pointed out, and I want to remind everybody is, remember, Kevin Feige said we'll actually reveal the meaning of the asterisk after the movie releases. So is the asterisk actually meaning, because the Avengers aren't here, which is consistent with the trailer that starts with, let's face it, the Avengers aren't coming. So it is consistent with that.
Yeah.
But do you actually put that into the logo of your movie just for that? And again, Kevin Feige saying we're not really going to fully disclose what it is until after the movie comes out. So whether we have just uncovered the meaning of the asterisk or not, I'm not sure. Chris, have we discovered the secret, or is just a fun little thing?
I feel like it's just a fun little thing. But, in accordance with Webster's dictionary, asterisks are to note an annotation or something that's being omitted. So it could be anything. It could be a footnote on something like this saying the Avengers are available. It could be going to redacted text because all these folks have done some pretty bad things. It could be a multitude of things. I think the whole Kevin Feige will reveal it after the movie comes out, though, is kind of dumb. just say what it is. It's on a poster. I don't know.
Maybe it just means there are a bunch of buttholes.
Maybe
That's it.
It is a cat
It's
butt.
just a symbol for a butthole.
Oh my gosh, they're going to release the cat's butthole cut during this movie. This is all a
coming.
ruse.
Rob, what do you think the meaning here is?
I was going to make a Rob Liefeld joke, but I won't because I like Rob Liefeld.
Love him.
But I do think that I think it means that we've put a pin in it for now. It's temporary. Because when they show you in the trailer that everyone's making fun of that.
Right.
Yes. The name itself.
The name itself. And they're not exactly the Thunderbolts from the comic. So they're kind of throwing this around. And I think I'd like to believe that we're just going to put a pin in this right now. We're going to call ourselves this until we come up with a better name. I would imagine that better name is probably going to either be revealed at the end of the movie or in the post-credit sequence, if there's another name. If not, then we'll have to wait till Sunday when Kevin Feige gets on social media and says, you know what it really means? And he'll probably give a press conference in Hollywood, invite all the genre press out there, and he'll have a presentation that'll all be him explaining exactly what this means.
You guys weren't here for the Q&A part of the show yesterday, but somebody wrote and said, do you think something was right along those lines? Somebody suggested, could the asterisk be to denote that by the end of the film, it's going to be a different name? And they suggested maybe Dark Avengers, which is a popular one that's going around. West Coast Avengers. And I want to know what you guys think about what I said to that. I said, here's why I don't believe that we are ever going to get a movie or show called Young Avengers. Why I don't think the name of this team at the end is going to be the Dark Avengers or the West Coast Avengers is because Avengers, from a business point of view, is Marvel's most valuable IP thing. And I think the last thing Marvel is going to do is just start throwing the word Avengers around. They don't even put it in the name of any of their other movies, right? It's not like Doctor Strange, one of the Avengers. It's like they use Avengers in the name of their movies. Yes, Captain America, the first one, the first Avenger, fine. They started off their thing with that. But I don't think you're going to see them throwing around the word Avenger, and they're going to save that name for those big event films every 3 or 4 years. and not be I don't know, Rob. What do you think about my opinion on that?
I think you're probably right about that. I mean, I think that's I totally agree with that because look, you can say the word, you can talk about the Avengers within the context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in universe, but in terms of, like you said, branding or sales, look, it's one thing to do it for a comic book. You can have Young Avengers, you can have West Coast Avengers as long as Moon Knight's in it, and you can have whatever Avengers you want. But when you do it, as far as this movie is concerned, there has been so far 4 Avengers movies, and they've all grossed over $1 billion. One of them or 2 of them have grossed over $2 billion.
And one of them almost 3.
Almost 3. And no one wants to dilute that. And that is their Tiffany standard. That is that blue box with the white ribbon. I mean, nobody wants to dilute that name. So I think you're absolutely right about that. And look, we might get a Dark Avengers again in universe, but no one's going to call a movie the Dark Avengers.
Right. Yeah. It could ostensibly
and
be
they're
Dark
not
Avengers,
the
not being
Dark
called that.
Avengers.
They're not.
No, they are
that's
not.
what I was going to bring
why I'm
up.
like, why?
It's
I
like
mean,
they're-
you know,
that's villains masquerading
Yeah,
as
the
heroes,
Dark
led by
Avengers.
Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And they have the whole like dark arc and everything too with the siege. Yeah, it's not them.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
them.
that's not
And then you're
that.
gonna have Dark Avengers, but not have Dakin or whatever his name, Wolverine's son, evil
Yeah.
son or whatever.
There's a whole bunch of things.
But
that
I
could be
do
missing.
think that there could be a tie if they decide they're not the Thunderbolts, if they call themselves the Invaders or the Defenders or something that were other Marvel super teams from different eras.
Can't be the Revengers already taken.
But
Can't be the
the
Revenge.
Defenders and the Invaders were comics. I mean, the Invaders is World War II pretty much, but still, they could call themselves something else, and I still think they could put, like at the end, maybe Red Guardian will finally be like, I know what it is now, and he comes up with the name, whatever
Here's-
that name is.
There's a wilder theory out there that would be crazy. Some people think the Asterisk is, and why Kevin Feige referenced the debut of the film. I saw a theory out there that says, like, before the movie comes out, the title's going to change. Like, by the time opening day comes for Thunderbolts, the name will have a different the movie will have a different name.
That would actually be pretty cool.
That would be cool. I mean, kind of weird for marketing, though.
Yeah,
Doesn't that
I
have
feel
the-
like that would be a kick
It'd
in
be
the
very
shins for
Harley
marketing.
Quinn, Fantabulous, Emancipate, all that nonsense.
Well,
Where
all
they
you have to
couldn't
do-
name Birds of Prey.
Somebody can go look at the copyright office. And if they're going to change the title of the movie,
Yeah.
do a little bit of research, dig into
That's
that.
true.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Like, an international poster for Thunderbolts is saying the asterisk is Avengers not available. I think it's just having fun. I don't think that's actually it. Maybe it is. Do you think it is? If not, what do you think the ultimate meaning is going to be? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? We all know that a new Harry Potter series is coming to HBO and Max, and they have been getting the cream of the crop, the top of the top best people, the best showrunners and producers and stuff like that, who's worked on some of the most celebrated, best shows out there to be working on this. There's been a lot of casting rumors going around out there. We've talked about it, but this is an interesting one, and we'll label this one under the rumor mill. So this is just everybody understand. This is not verified fact. Everything we're about to talk about here is based on a rumor that very well may not be true whatsoever, but it's an interesting enough concept to discuss it. The rumor going around right now is that Oppenheimer Oscar winner Cillian Murphy is rumored to be getting a role in the new Harry Potter series. This coming us from Superhero Hype, who wrote the following. Actor Cillian Murphy is rumored to be cast as a villain in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series. However, this character is, God forgive me, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right, Quirinius Quirrell.
Yeah.
Did I nail it?
Quirrell, yeah.
Woohoo! And not Voldemort. The reboot series by Warner Brothers is based on the iconic fantasy novel series penned by author J.K. Rowling. As per the makers, the TV series is expected to focus more on the details from the books, which was limited in the movies. Now, okay. I've had a couple of initial thoughts when I saw this, because this is the guy who, at the end of the first movie, has Voldemort etched in the back. He turned himself into a Horcrux,
Yeah.
right? He's got Voldemort in the back of his head. There he is.
Cute.
And at first I thought, well, you know, why
We get you?
would you bring in a guy like Cillian Murphy because this guy's there and then he's gone, right? But maybe that's what makes it make more sense. Because remember, every book is going to be one season of the show. Maybe you can't lock down a Cillian Murphy for 6 seasons. How many books were there? 7?
7.
7. Okay, 8 movies, 7 books. Maybe you can't lock him down or have him commit to 7 seasons. He's busy. But maybe you can get him locked in for 1. And the most important season, of course, is always the first.
Right.
Launching the series. So my first thought was, I just can't see. Why would you just have him in a guy who's there and then gone? Oh, because it's a 1-season commitment. So look, ultimately, do I think Cillian Murphy is going to be on board for this? Maybe. I think there are agents all over this town lobbying hard for their clients to be in this show. And it might even be high profile enough for somebody like Cillian Murphy. Whether it ends up being him or not, I'd say that's a coin toss about the legitimacy of this. But I think in theory, it makes sense. He would be great for that role. It's only a 1-season commitment, and it's how you're going to kick off your show. So do I like the idea of this casting? Yes. On the believability meter, I'll go a little under 50-50. I'll say about a 45 on the believability meter, 45 out of 100 on that. So low, probably not true, but I do like the idea. Chris, what do you think about this one in the rumor mill?
I like it, especially because it would be a different role for the majority of the season for Cillian Murphy, in that Quirrell is this very meek, mild-mannered, unassuming character, and that's why you don't think that Voldemort is in possession of his body, which Voldemort became in possession after his weakened state, and he has to drink unicorn blood in order to sustain himself and keep his Vestal healthy. Just so everyone knows. Yeah. But
How many times did you read those books?
I read them so much as a kid. I went to all the midnight releases. I was super cool, Rob.
Wow.
Yeah. I was
You went to the
reading
midnight releases of the books?
Of the books.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Yeah, I would wait at a Barnes & Noble in my robes. Yeah.
I can't
Young
imagine
Chris
you.
Carr was not rock and roll, y'all. She was not getting laid. She was not doing anything. She was reading books.
I just can't believe you were up at midnight.
At midnight.
I know,
Yeah,
man.
that's hard for me to
I was so
imagine.
young and virile when I was a
Yeah, I
kid.
used to stay
going on
out
with that?
late, read books.
Guys, I stayed up till 10 last night. It was wild.
What'd you watch?
I watched Sorted Food. It's a YouTube channel.
Nice.
I'm so sorry, Rob. I know you're disappointing me. Anyway.
I watched model building channels still
Oh, that's
early.
great. I love that. Look
Yeah.
how much is woodworking. But I like the idea of starting this as a trend of, hey, we already know there's always going to be a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. That's one of the things that you know you're getting in this series. The teacher's always being replaced. And I like the idea of bringing in some really like powerful A-level celebrity to come be in this show. I think that's super, super fun. And it also just keeps the tradition of every single UK actor has either been in Harry Potter or in Doctor Who or both. And you know what? Cillian Murphy needs to be part of that. Give these guys their dues.
Rob, what do you think about it?
I look, I think Cillian Murphy probably called up Ray Fiennes and said, "Bro, how much residuals did you get?"
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think this is the biggest ticket in town. Like you pointed out, every agent, not just in LA, but on the planet Earth, people that from Bangladesh are calling up, going, "Hey, I've got a client."
I mean, look at
I
this
mean, it's-
picture. He's got to be somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think. And by the way, I think that Cillian Murphy is the kind of guy that would want to do this. Like, I think it'd be fun for him. You know, I mean, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Who knows? The real question is he going to cameo in the 28 years later movies?
Well, I think those movies will be out by the time
but
the series comes out.
But I think that he's a great addition to the Harry Potter franchise.
I don't think you'd be opposed to it.
No, especially because remember, when you shoot TV, it's such an ensemble cast, and these episodes are going to shoot for a long time.
Yeah.
But he probably it's not a huge commitment for him, I would imagine.
So where would you put it on the believability meter? This room?
Oh, I'd go over 50% on it.
Oh, really?
I would. I mean, I don't. Because I think the stigma of being in TV shows is completely gone for actors. For British actors, it never really existed anyway because they went from stage to screen back to the stage. So I think that Cillian Murphy is the kind of guy that would do something like this and embrace it. I mean, it doesn't get much higher you know, in terms of prestige product. I mean, yeah, okay, it's not Breaking Bad or The Sopranos, but as far as pop culture, I mean, this is a worldwide phenomenon. Why wouldn't he do it? I'd do it. I'd take his part.
All right, guys, the question is for you.
I'll be on the back of his head.
What do you think about this? The rumor mill right now is saying that Cillian Murphy is being looked at to play, I'm not going to say his name again, but the guy who's carrying around Voldemort on the back of his head in the new upcoming Harry Potter series. The two different questions are, number one, would you like that casting? I actually really do. But number two, do you find it believable? Where would you put it on the believability meter for this rumor mill? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, YouTube is not just a social media platform. It is actually the number one streamer in the world. It's not Disney Plus, it's not Netflix, it's not the number one streaming platform in the world is YouTube. And a few years ago, YouTube started to try to shift a little bit. I still remember the first time YouTube put out an app for your TV where you could actually watch YouTube on your TV. As a matter of fact, back in the AMC days, as we were going, I started, you know, I gave out a mandate to our guys at AMC, which was, let's start making the show look optimized on a television screen. Let's not worry as much about the phone, although most people watched, you know, AMC Movie Talk at the time on the phones. But I said, let's really optimize for a television screen because we're treating this show like a TV show more than anything else. Let's go that way. But more and more, YouTube has been going that way. And now, according to The Verge, it is now for the first time ever, YouTube is saying YouTube is most watched now on TVs. This comes from The Verge, who wrote, it's official. People are spending more time watching YouTube on their TVs than on their phones. In the platform's annual letter, YouTube CEO Neil Mohan revealed that viewers are watching more than 1 billion hours of YouTube content on their TVs every day. For the past 2 years, YouTube has maintained its position as the most watched streaming service in the US, according to data from Nielsen, and for good reason. The company's made some significant tweaks to its TV app to make the platform look like a full-blown TV service, which is true. When you load up now your YouTube app on your television, it looks more akin to an Amazon Video app or a Tubi app or something than it does to the phone app of YouTube. And they've really been more going. And by the way, with them having made changes to like Google Movies, now you get those on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You know how I access and watch my digital movies now? It's through the YouTube app. I go to the movie thing, and that's where all the movies I've bought over the years are now right there in my YouTube app. And I just fired. I was on a plane coming back from Canada recently. And I say, oh, look, I just watched this whole series and I still have 3.5 hours to go on this flight. Fired up YouTube, went to my movie thing, and I watched Batman versus Superman and got the whole thing. They have really been, and now there are being TV shows being made exclusively for YouTube. You can buy episodes of TV right in YouTube. And so, Chris, I wonder, as we look at this, and, you know, we are a YouTube show as well. Mm-hmm. I think this marks a significant shift that YouTube is no longer just the mobile video watching app. It still is that in many ways, but I mean, it is now the number one watched home entertainment app in general. How do you think this might affect like TV shows, movie studios and their approach and how they figure where people will ultimately later on be watching our content and how much of a change do you think this will make in our viewing habits?
Well, we've already seen it a little bit, at least in marketing for standard television and movies,
right,
where we've seen so many celebrities go on to popular YouTube channels and go use them as a way to connect with the audiences out there to go, oh, hey, by the way, I've got a new movie, I've got a new TV show. Hot Ones obviously is the king of this. We saw this incredible marketing push with Ben Schwartz doing all this stuff for Sonic where he was on almost everyone's YouTube channel. He was doing Let's Plays. He was doing last meals. He was doing all kinds of stuff. And I feel like that's a great way that people are going to be connecting to audiences and studios are going to be more
Hot
hands-on.
Ones is a great example of that.
I think studios are really going to push for that kind of more online viral marketing. I mean, Rob and I were just talking about this accidentally in the last topic of what did you watch last night? YouTube. I didn't watch a TV show. I didn't have the bandwidth to watch anything else. And I went, I just want to watch some cooking videos.
I do
It's
that
9
so
p.m.
much, so many
Yeah,
times,
I
yeah.
want to watch something that's 20 minutes and digestible and not riddled with ads. That is an issue, though. Certain channels have so many ads and then certain built-in ones. But I feel like this is the way that most people consume their media. We also see people getting their news from YouTube, not only pop culturally, but about world news as a whole. Because I think a lot of people don't subscribe to traditional media anymore when it comes to how they consume news. We have people getting it from socials, from YouTube, from any of these various platforms. It's a really big thing that's happening of how YouTube is really dominating how people consume media as a whole. And I think traditional studios are going to start looking to what is it that draws people to this? Is it the parasocial aspect of it? How you feel like, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends and I'm in their living room, essentially. Is it the way that these shows are being presented? Is it the formatting? Is it the length? I think we're going to see a lot more of these studio heads trying to break down what the special sauce is and try to implement it into their own shows.
And you know what? Some real key updates they've made to the TV app. It always used to drive me crazy when I couldn't jump in and see the description or see any of the comments.
Yeah.
They just recently added that to the YouTube app.
You can
on
do the
television.
live chat feed too.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, so they've done a lot. Rob, what are some of the ways you see this influencing things?
Well, to me, it's really interesting. I think what YouTube has done has completely, like, for news programs. I mean, you look at the long form, like this show being one of them, but people like Joe Rogan. I watch a lot of political commentary from both sides or all sides of the spectrum because you have long sit-down interviews with people. I think that was Rogan's popularity is he can have all kinds of people from all walks of life, whether it's a comedian, whether it's a wrestler, whether it's a political figure, whether it's a scientist, and sit down and talk to them for 3 hours. Traditional media can't do that. And, I think what happened was you see the traditional media has gone by the wayside. They're gone because you can't, 5-minute sound bites on a news show doesn't cut it anymore. And I think people, look, tutorials are on YouTube. If you want to know how to do anything, I mean, if I want to know how to run a computer program or you do a graphics program, someone has made a tutorial about it, and I can figure out how to do it in 5 minutes. I mean, you literally, it's not just entertainment; it is a repository of how to live your life. Like if I want,
That's dangerous.
if I want to cook, like if I was a young man and it would be a great dating option because I'd be like, okay, I want to cook a meal for a lady and look cool. You can go to YouTube and figure out how to cook a meal very quickly. It doesn't matter what you want to find out. Language, everything is on YouTube. Everything. And I just love the fact that it's user-generated content.
And it kind of drives home the fact that, well, I don't have my phone in front of me. Let's say this was a phone. Our primary thing, like I remember back, like even 5-6 years ago, says, everybody's going to be watching their movies on their phone. Everyone's going to watch movies on their phone. I'm like, if people have a choice, sitting on their couch and watching their TV or doing this to watch a movie, no one's going to do that. And I think this trend and this new data is kind of showing we want to consume it on our main media consumption tool, which is our television.
Well, John, the Three-Body Problem, the Chinese version of the Three-Body Problem, which is like 30 episodes, was on Tencent's YouTube channel. Like I was able to go back and watch it 2 years ago. It's got great English subtitles. I got to watch the show. Where else would I have been able to see that? And it was free.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you, like me, somebody who, like 95% of my YouTube video watching is on my television in my living room or on my TV in my bedroom?
Yeah.
I very rarely watch YouTube videos now on my phone or anything like that. Maybe you're still a little more old school that way. Maybe you still do primarily watch YouTube videos on your phones. A lot of people still do. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Before we keep going on here, we still have to talk about Deadpool's Morena Baccarin has joined the He-Man Masters of the Universe movie. We're going to discuss that. And you may not be aware, but there are actually 9 Marvel projects coming out in 2025, including the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. How do we rank those in terms of the one we're most looking forward to and most excited about? We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. All right, sports fans, All-Star Weekend is almost here, and if you're not on PrizePicks, you're seriously missing out. It's the easiest and most fun way to turn your basketball knowledge into real money. With over 10 million users already playing, why not you? PrizePicks is a skill-based daily fantasy game. You just pick more or less on player projections. You think Steph Curry's hitting more than 5 threes, or Giannis dropping more than 35 points? Make your picks in under 60 seconds, and if you hit, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Ann and I have been using PrizePicks on football all year, but now we're switching over to basketball. And we like Jason Tatum getting more than 29 points. And now that Luka Doncic is on the Lakers, I'm going to take over on 8 assists. And the best part is, even if you miss one pick, PrizePicks Flex Play lets you still cash out. And hey, don't forget about Taco Tuesday. Each week, PrizePicks discounts select player projections by up to 25%, giving you even more chances to score big. Download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use that code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, that down, let's move on to this. So it's still hard to believe there is finally a live-action He-Man Masters of the Universe movie coming with blah, 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 playing He-Man. I still can't get Geisen, Goosen, whatever. The girl from Riverdale.
This is where everybody gets their news from.
But hey, Jared Leto. We are your definitive news source. Is playing He-Man. Gizantine, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
this up.
Marty McFisto,
Yes.
whatever his name is.
Oh, Fisto's is a different person.
Yes. Oh, it's a very different person. Jared Leto's playing Skeletor. Anyway, a whole bunch of people announced. Well, now we got some new casting. Deadpool's Morena Baccarin, according to Deadline, has been cast as Sorceress. I love her. Anyway, let's get on to the story here. Deadline writes the following. Travis Knight's, by the way, let's not forget, Travis Knight is directing this. He's the guy who directed Kubo and the Two Strings and probably the best Transformers
Bumblebee,
movie, the Bumblebee live action movie, which was incredible. Anyway, at least the best live action Transformers movie. Travis Knight's live action Masters of the Universe movie from Amazon, MGM Studios, and Mattel has added Morena Baccarin in the role of the Sorceress and Johannes Hakorna Matata Johansson in the role of Malcolm / Fisto.
Is that really his middle name?
No,
No.
it's Hakor.
His middle name is
Hakor.
Hakor. I just call him Hakorna Matata. So we can tell you first. The duo joins. There he is, Nicholas Galitzine.
Yeah.
As He-Man. Camila Mendez as Tila. She's the one from Riverdale. Allison Brie as Eva Lynn. I love that
So
casting.
good.
I love that casting. Jared Leto as Skeletor. Idris Elba as Duncan Man-at-Arms. Sam C. Wilson as Trapjaw. Hafthor Bjornsson as Goatman. That's the mountain, by the way, from Game of Thrones. He's playing Goatman. And Kojo Ada as Triclops in the screenplay by Chris Butler with first draft by David Callahan and Aaron and Adam Nee. By the way, there's another thing. This dude here, Johannes Hakorna Matata Johansson, of course, is playing Fisto. Can we talk about this for a second before we get to the Morena Baccarin thing?
You would really like to talk about Fisto?
I would. I mean, I wake up thinking Fisto. I go to bed thinking Fisto, and everything in between. So
Got Fisto on his mind.
Wow.
got my mind on my Fisto
That's a mean-
and my Fisto on my mind. Look, I'm all for staying as close as you can to source material. Couldn't you have just called him Fist? I mean, come on, because like, you got to know the 14-year-old child in all of us is saying, the guy's name's Fisto, huh?
Does he say
Fisto.
it's fisting time?
Oh, and by the way,
Jonathan.
here's Skeletor's new henchman, DP Mary. I mean, you change the name. Just all you gotta do is drop the O. Just call him Fist. That's cool.
I don't feel like that is much better.
It's a little better.
And I don't know.
A little better.
I don't know if 14-year-olds are getting it.
Fist.
I was at least 18.
Before you knew what it meant.
Or before you got it. That's
I'm sorry, my brain short-circuited for 5 seconds being like, what did you just admit?
I mean,
I leave that up for you to decide.
I just, come on, guys. Anyway, so okay, let's get on to the important thing here.
I think we did. It's covered.
Done. On to the next topic.
Oh.
Listen, Morena Baccarin, to me, she's like one of the actresses in the business that I don't really fully understand why in her career she never broke through to becoming A-list. Because she's got it.
Yeah.
She's incredibly talented. I mean, you can put her in a show like V and she kills it. You can even put her in a mid show like Gotham and
She was incredible.
wasn't she great in Gotham?
Yeah, that show was so
And
okay.
Did she
She
end
was
up
great.
marrying the guy who played Commissioner
I
Gordon?
think so.
Like
They
in
at
real
least
life?
dated.
Yeah, I think at least they did. I think they might have got
He was
married.
from the OC.
he was.
You go back to the original Firefly and Serenity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, she's one of the main reasons that the original Deadpool movie worked so well.
Yep.
Like, that movie's going to be funny no matter what, but it was special because of her performance in it and her chemistry with Ryan Reynolds and all that kind of stuff. So I will take every serving of her that we can get. And I think she's going to be great. And the fact, really, Sorceress, that's an interesting one for her to play. So I love this casting. Chris, what do you think about the casting of Morena Baccarin?
I love this. I think she's wonderful, but man, if she's not wearing a bird outfit, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's going on?
If she is not in this bird singlet, I will be furious.
Well, it's such a cool outfit.
It's a great outfit. I love the costumes on He-Man are bananagrams, and I love them. They are so fun and wacky. I think this is a really good fit for her, though, too, because if we are having this person who is this all-powerful sorceress who watches over Castle Grayskull and knows all this about the magic and the inner workings of everything, I think she's such a great character for that because you believe that she could have that kind of power. She holds her own anytime she's on screen, no matter who she's playing. And I just feel like watching this, it would be I don't have to suspend my disbelief that much. Sure, she's an almighty sorceress. Absolutely.
Rob, what do you think about it?
I think it's great casting, and I think this whole movie, I once interviewed Travis Knight. I had to do a thing for Hasbro, which I shot at the Netflix offices, where he was addressing the licensing convention about what he wanted to do with Bumblebee. So I got to sit down and talk with him for a bit.
Oh, cool.
While we were setting up the cameras and stuff. He's a really impressive, very thoughtful guy. And, he grew up loving all this stuff. So he is like, I would imagine he wanted this job because he was a huge Transformers fan. We didn't talk about He-Man, but I imagine he's of that age. He has the perfect sensibility to make this movie both kick-ass and still He-Man-esque. Like the fact that he cast Morena Baccarin and if you look at all the other cast, I think this is going to be, I never thought I would say I'd be excited for a He-Man movie, but I think it's going to be the same way that Dungeons & Dragons should have had a bigger audience, was a really fun film. I think he's going to be able to deliver something like that. I'm really excited. With all the casting announcements, this being the latest, I think this movie's going to be really good. And this is from somebody who didn't love the TV series. It was beyond me.
I am starting to grow more and more faith in this. Look, the most important person in any movie is the director, and just the fact that you got Travis Knight in there says a lot.
He's the man.
He is, and I think he's going to do something pretty cool here. By the way, a bunch of people was pointing me to this. This one video clip on YouTube of He-Man where Fisto stands up and says, "I'd sure like to fist him."
Oh,
This is on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's the reaction. They're like, oh.
Prince Adam's like, whoa, I don't know about that.
Anyway, guys,
That's how he turns into He-Man.
I have the power.
No.
Anyway, guys,
It's better when a girl says it.
question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you like the casting of Morena Baccarin? If you told me she was going to be in the movie and asked me to guess which character, I honestly probably wouldn't have said Sorceress, but I'll totally take it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Before we move into our final topic today, we thought we'd take a little time to play a little round of What's more likely? A little bit earlier today, we jumped onto the community tab and asked you guys to fire in any what's more likely scenarios. Jonathan's got a few that have been picked out. So, Jonathan, what do we got from our audience?
First up, Movie Buff says, John, what's more likely? Andy Muschietti still to direct Batman Brave and the Bold, or someone else does? Whether that's James Gunn, Matt Reeves, or someone new.
Woo! You know what? I'm going to say, like, with all this, we've talked about this a little bit, but what is more likely? I'm going to say I think it's more likely anybody else ends up directing Brave and the Bold. I just, there just seems to be a disconnect right now between Andy Muschietti and the studio on this, particularly James Gunn. Again, look, it's still possible Andy Muschietti ends up directing it, but I'm going to guess it's more likely he won't, Chris.
I'm with you. It just doesn't seem like everyone's on the same page with anything about this movie, including when it's being made. And it just feels like perhaps this is not the best fit right now.
Rob?
I'm going to go the opposite direction, only because I know I don't really, not to be contrarian, but he did direct the It films for Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. They did very, very well. And look, I'm gonna die on the hill of The Flash. We liked it.
I really like The Flash.
You need
I don't
rein
care.
in that we, sir.
Okay, well, I'm just going to
She's
say,
included in this.
look,
Nah.
I didn't
really
know what
liked
to
it.
expect from The Flash, and I really enjoyed it because it was kind of gonzo and in a way
Yeah.
weird. It did a lot of really interesting things. I really liked Sasha Calle as Supergirl.
She was incredible.
I'm getting that hot toy.
Loved Keaton.
And that's, I mean, a real hot toy. Anyway, you know. But I think Andy Muschietti is actually a pretty talented director. And, you know, Flash was never going to succeed. It could have been the best movie ever made. It had too much baggage. I believe that. And I think if people would just take themselves away, and I think maybe it'll be rediscovered. Because there's a lot of people that like The Flash until there was this weird backlash.
Well, I mean, look, it faced several uphill battles, including the whole abandonment of the DCEU as a whole by the audience. And then, of course, the nonstop, almost 2-year-long circus that was Ezra Miller. That kind of ruined it.
It ruined it.
But I mean, I've never doubted that, like, the talent Muschietti. I think he's a really good director. But I mean, from everything from him coming out and making a public statement, well, now that my Batman Beyond movie is delayed, and then James Gunn had to come out and say, Batman Beyond isn't delayed. I mean, there's such a disconnect there. But I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Being Brave and the Bold. Or are you just
What-
trying to
what
get my
did I
hopes
say?
up? You said Batman Beyond because
'Cause
subconsciously
sorry.
you desperately want a Batman
It's
Beyond
true.
film.
So bad.
You
Well,
do.
Trapped.
So
Trapped
bad.
in. You heard it here.
It was a
we have
Freudian
this.
slip.
Clip it out. Clip it out right now, please. And be like, oh yeah, John Campea
Make
wants a
that
Batman
your new
Beyond.
ringtone,
He
Jonathan.
we
dreams.
go.
He dreams of a Batman Beyond.
All right. What's
Yeah.
our next one?
What is our next one? We got from Anthony. He says, Chris, what's more likely, seeing Brett Goldstein as Hercules or Harry Styles as Star Fox in the MCU again?
Ooh,
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good
that's rough. Brett Goldstein?
Think so? You think they'll go back to that?
Maybe. I feel like there's less stink on Love and Thunder than on the Internals where we saw Star Fox, so I don't know.
Well, where were they even going with that? He's Thanos' brother. It's like, where
What's
were
up?
you going with this?
Yeah.
Well, remember, he refers to himself as a fellow Eternal
Yeah.
in that, right? See, I'm going to go the opposite. I think it is more likely. I don't think we're going to see Brett Goldstein there again.
Aw.
Because, you know, when you see him in Shrinking, which how good is he in Shrinking?
Incredible.
He's clearly not kept up a Hercules physique, right? I don't think there's any plans for him
He
to.
could jump in at any time.
Uh,
Roy
well-
Kent runs here, there, he's everywhere.
Roy,
He's
I
got
said
this.
Royd Kent.
I mean-
I mean, get back in shape, no problem.
Listen.
I actually
Been hanging out
think
with
We live
Pitbull.
here and we don't judge.
for the record, I don't think we're going to see either of these characters again, for the record. But
Oh, yeah.
what's more likely, I think it would be a lot easier for them to take Harry Styles thing because you could drop that character in a number of scenarios. You can only put Roy Kent's Hercules in with Thor again. But I think you could literally, the way they set up, you know, Star Fox at the end there is you can drop him in anywhere. So I'll say that's more likely. Rob, which one for
What are
you?
they going to do? They got upcoming Secret Wars. They're just going to leave the Eternals drifting in space. We're never going to know what happened to any of them.
Oh, I think we'll see them back.
Maybe.
And Hercules has been an Avenger. So I think that I'm going to go with Harry Styles only because I'd like to see what he does with the character. But I can't count out. I'm going to go with Harry Styles. But I can't count out that Hercules, they could bring him back. But maybe they'll change up maybe a new Hercules because it's a multiverse. Who knows?
All right, what's next?
We got Kyle says, Rob, which is more likely? Which upcoming animated to live action movie is more likely to have the highest domestic gross this year? Lilo and Stitch or How to Train Your Dragon?
Ooh,
That is tough.
Tough.
You know, I'm gonna go with Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Only because I mean you can't, the kids and the parents. But the thing is, How to Train Your Dragon skews older. So, and I thought that trailer, like you, was delightful. I'm gonna go Lilo and Stitch.
All right, to me, it's not even close. It's Lilo and Stitch by miles. I'm not saying it's going to be the better movie. It might be the better movie, but I mean, it's just I think the appeal there for families is much higher.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon is first of all is a wonderful trilogy of films. Wonderful.
Great in 3D too.
They were never the biggest box office phenomenons in the world, right? And so I just think the upside for Lilo and Stitch is a little bit higher. Again, I don't know which movie will be better, but I think Lilo and Stitch will probably be the higher grossing movie by a considerable amount, probably. I don't know. Chris, how do you see it?
I'm going to do this based solely off on what I think a big marketing push is going to be. And so I think it's going to be How to Train Your Dragon, because Disney currently has a Lilo and Stitch ride that exists. It was the alien encounter thing that's been repurposed to be Stitch. Universal is building a whole world around How to Train Your Dragon. So Epic Universe over in Florida is going to have the Isle of Berk. And I feel like they are going to really, really push this to the same level that Disney did back in the day with Cars. Wildly toyetic, able to immerse yourself in this world where you go to Pixar and you can go be there and go meet Lightning McQueen and all that. Same kind of push from Universal. I think they're really going to put a lot of money into marketing this. And I feel like, to your point about the age part here, you're going to have a lot of millennials and their kids come to see this, as well as just little kids in general going, oh, I want to see that movie with dragons. That sounds cool. I feel like there's a wide audience there, whereas a lot of people my age I've talked to about Lilo and Stitch have done I don't know if I want to see that. I really like the cartoon. Which, as always, the new one isn't going to take away from the old one. They both can exist and everything, but I haven't seen the same excitement that I've seen people with How to Train Your Dragon.
And by the way, brand new How to Train Your Dragon spot drops tomorrow. So
fun.
But that'll be something fun to talk about. All right, what's next?
All right. Kareem says, John, what's more likely? Cap 4 makes less than 600 million or Snow White makes more than 500 million? Less than 600.
First of all, I think you handicapped those perfectly.
I know.
Those are like
Yeah.
almost perfect numbers. So what's the question here? The cap, what's more likely? The cap makes under 6?
Yeah, and Snow White
Or that
makes
Snow
over
White
5.
makes over 5? Woo! I will say it is.
I think I got my answer.
First, again, I think those are perfect handicapping numbers. I'm going to say it's more likely that Snow White makes over 5.
I do too.
Again, even with all the crap talk and hoopla and everything that surrounded like Little Mermaid, and even though it had a small opening, that movie ended up exceeding $500 million. So again, I think it's right around there. I say, well, it's more likely that Snow White makes more than 500. Chris?
Because that means Cap's going to make less than 6.
Yeah.
And I just don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't see that happening. And I have my own bias of just like, I don't think Snow White's going to do well.
No, it's asking what's more likely to happen.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
more likely that Cap will make under 6? Or is it more likely that Snow White will make over 5? I think it is more likely that Snow White will make over 5 than Cap will make under 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I did understand the question before. I thought it was which is going to make more in general. No. Yeah, under 5. Yeah, sure. I just think a lot under. But I know it performs well. All these live action movies perform really well overseas, but
No. Will Snow White make more than 5?
More than 5?
More than
Jesus,
500.
I don't understand what this is.
Okay,
at
so
all. Sorry, when I can't see the questions, I'm confused.
Here it is. What's more likely? That Captain America will make under 600 or that Snow White will make over 500?
Oh, yeah, then I stand by. Making more than 500 million, I don't believe that.
So
I
think
think
it's
that
more likely that Captain America makes
less
under
than 600
6?
because I feel like we're still just warming up to Marvel. I don't know. Like the new Captain, the new regime and all of that. Sorry, guys. I need my coffee to be mainlined into me. That took
All right,
me
Rob,
so
what
much
about you?
time.
I think Snow White's going to make over 5.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, it's Snow White. It's classic. She's known the world over. No one outside of the ecosystem that we're a part of here cares about Rachel Ziegler's problems or any of that. It's a Disney movie. It's Snow White. It's the oldest animated brand in the world. It's other than maybe Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse, but it's gonna exceed that.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't put money on Snow White making over 5. I just think it's more likely that it does that than Cap makes under 6. So
I don't even know if I'm going to put any
understand
money
that.
into seeing Snow White. So
I will. I'm at least curious to see how it turns out. It could be a hot mess, but we'll see how it turns out. All right, how many more do we got?
Just one more.
All right, what's next?
All right, so Joey says, what's more likely, John Williams scoring one more feature film or Clint Eastwood directing one more feature film?
Ooh, that's tough.
I'll jump in. I don't think it's tough. I think it's more likely that Clint Eastwood directs one more film.
I do too.
I mean, and for really a bad reason, which is
The live
John
concerts?
Williams has been absent a lot lately. Like,
Yeah.
he completely missed the last John Williams concert because they said he was having health issues. They hoped the best for him. And then I heard like 2 months later, because at the John Williams concert that he missed, it was, oh, we wish him a speedy recovery and blah, blah, blah. But then like 2 months later, I got report that another big concert he was supposed to do somewhere else, he couldn't do.
Yeah.
And listen, Clint Eastwood's still going, man.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood's still rolling, and
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that we get Eastwood. Now, sorry, Chris, back to you.
I'm with you here. My point was going to be, John Williams at his own concerts hasn't been able to be there the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's rough. Or, Clint just did a new film.
A really good one, by the way.
Yeah,
Juror number
so-
2. And he
Yep.
could tell stories that are like that on that scale.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rob?
yeah, I'll probably go the Clint Eastwood route, even though I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's more likely he directs a movie than John Williams writes a new score. Because not only when you write a score, not only do you have to write it, you have to conduct it. You
Yeah.
can get somebody else to conduct it for him. Maybe he could write a score, but I mean, let the man rest.
Yeah.
All right. And guys, that'll do it for this little installment of What's More Likely. Big thank you to everybody who sent in the questions and scenarios. Keep your guys' eyes open for us dropping the call for those questions, and we'll always pick out 4 or 5 whenever we do them. We do it about two times a week. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, it's 2025, and it may shock you to find out that there are actually 9 MCU projects scheduled to come out this year. 6 of them on Disney Plus, I think, and 3 of them in the movie theaters. So we thought it would be fun. I saw another outlet do a list on this a few days ago, and I thought it'd be fun for us to discuss it as well. About how would we rank, in order of anticipation and excitement, the 9 upcoming MCU projects this year in 2025. So I'll get things kicked off here. At number 9, down at the bottom of the list for me, is Marvel Zombies. I can't tell you how excited I am to not watch this. Look, don't get me wrong. I did like the Marvel Zombies episode of What If that they did. That was clever and cute, but the novelty of it it's gone. I just don't see a purpose for doing an entire series of it. Again, this is not me saying it's not going to be good. It very well could be good. I haven't seen it. I'm just talking about my expectations and where I'm thinking it's going to be. So down at the bottom of the list, I'm probably not even going to see it unless you guys tell me it's awesome, is Marvel Zombies. At number 8, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, lest some of you might be yelling at your screen right now, but John, you said you watched the first couple of episodes and you actually kind of liked it. Yes, but I'm trying to give you my honest thoughts about where I was before I started watching it. And before I started watching it, I thought this show looked stupid. I'm still not 1,000% won over on it, but I did like the first couple of episodes. I didn't love them, but I thought they were pretty good. I'll get around to watching the rest later. So at number 9 for me is Marvel Zombies, but at number 8 is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Down near the bottom still at number 7, Ironheart. You know, it's one of those things where with Black Panther, they gave us a taste of Black Panther in Captain America Civil War to get us really excited for the Black Panther movie. They tried to do that same formula with Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever, and it totally backfired. Because that made me have zero interest in Ironheart. Like none. Like that movie actually made me less interested in seeing an Ironheart series than I was before seeing Black Panther 2. So I have very little, like, again, it could end up being great, and I hope that it is. I'll definitely check it out, but my anticipation level for it is pretty low. Right along that is Wonder Man at my number 6 spot. Now, there's been zero marketing for it. And so ask me again once we see the first couple of like little pieces of teasers, some sizzles, a trailer. That may totally change my mind. But right now, I mean, the synopsis of it just doesn't sound that interesting to me. When they put out the little production notes on it, I'm like, that doesn't sound like a show I'd be excited about. So again, could totally change. They got a fantastic actor in it, but we'll see. Because that's Yahya, right?
Yeah.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who is an incredible performer. We'll see if it can climb up higher on the list, but for now, I've got it at number 6. All right. At number 5, I've got Eyes of Wakanda. I would have this a little higher, except that I am left feeling a little disappointed in Black Panther 2. But again, Ryan Coogler's behind it. I like kind of the style of the artwork we've seen come out of it so far. So I'll have it high up as number 5 on my list. At my number 4 most anticipated Marvel project coming out this year, well, I'm seeing it in about 48 hours. Captain America: Brave New World. Look, I gotta say, while I did not love Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I enjoyed it. I liked it, and it was certainly kind of better than... It did a good job of doing something that I wasn't interested in at all. Establishing Sam Wilson as the new Captain America. It did a good job in that sense of creating that transition piece. I don't know how many people watched it. And then once you say Harrison Ford is going to be Red Hulk, well, now you've got my attention. So in the number 4 most anticipated spot for me is Captain America 4. Oh, and by the way, guys, just to let you know, a little bit later tonight at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time tonight, I am going to be bring it on up, Reaction Watch. The first reactions for Captain America 4 are coming out tonight. I will be doing a live reaction watch this evening. That will be at about, I'll go live at about 8:45 p.m., but the live reactions are scheduled to start coming out around 9 p.m. So we will be getting the first reactions as the premiere of the film is tonight, and we'll get people's reactions from it. See how that goes. So anyway, at my number 4 spot, we got Captain America: Brave New World. In my number 3 spot of my most anticipated Marvel projects this year, some people might be surprised I don't have this a little higher, but is Fantastic Four. I'm looking forward to this. I liked the trailer. I wasn't blown away by it, but I liked it. I love the casting. I think it's a really different kind of movie than we've seen from the MCU so far. So yeah, I'm down for it. Looking forward to it. I love the score. Man, I love the score for this movie. And we'll see how that goes. In my number 2 spot, Daredevil Born Again. Yes, I have become a little concerned recently from some of the comments that the showrunner's been making, sounding like he doesn't quite get what made Daredevil so great. It wasn't the violence. It was the great characters, the great dialogue, the great philosophies clashing, all that kind of stuff. That then set the stage for awesome violence. But still, I thought the trailers and the previews we've seen for Daredevil Born Again have been spectacular. The whole conversations between Kingpin and Matt that we see like in that diner, even talking about how the violence controls us or something like that. It's like, it's just Daredevil is back, and I cannot wait. I don't care what he says. As much as I hated She-Hulk, I liked Matt in She-Hulk, and I can't wait to see more Matt on screen. So my number 2 most anticipated Marvel project this year is Daredevil Born Again. And I'll tell you what, guys, at number 1, if you had asked me this like a year and a half ago, I said, John, in this year, with things like Captain America 4, with Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts is going to be your number one most anticipated thing, I would have said you were crazy. But holy crap, I have not liked, I have loved everything I've seen come out of this so far. I love the team they ended up assembling. I've said this before, I would absolutely tomorrow watch a 65 episode season of Red Guardian. Like with David Harbour playing that character, I'm all in love. Bucky, I really got won over by Walmart Captain America. Everybody loves Yelena. It's going to be good to see Ghost back. And the trailer they played at the Super Bowl, as if I wasn't already completely on board, has driven my excitement level for this movie into overdrive. So shockingly, Thunderbolts is my most anticipated MCU project this year. Anyway, Rob, it's a big list. A lot of stuff coming out. How would you rank them in terms of your excitement level?
Mine's pretty close to yours. My least anticipated is Marvel Zombies. I have the omnibus. I read the comics. I don't need to watch an animated series of it because it's kind of a one-note joke, really. Mm-hmm. It really is. I mean, it's like, okay, and then you're reading it, it gets goofier as it goes along. There's a lot it's fun, but I don't need to see it again. Then I'm going to go with Ironheart. Like you, I liked Wakanda Forever more than a lot of people, but I thought Ironheart was completely unnecessary.
To shoot in.
They needed to give that. The idea is good. I mean, I like the character, but they needed to. It seemed so clunky, and I hated the design of the armor. I mean, I thought if it was part of Armor Wars, it could have been better. Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it's fine, but I mean, we're getting into the Spider-Verse. It's difficult to watch the Spider-Verse movies, then go back and watch
something like
another
that.
Spider-Man film. I feel like I want a new Spider-Man movie. I don't want to watch yet another animated Spider-Man film, which is in another universe, which is building something, which is fine. It's not that it's a bad show, but I just, I think Captain America 4 is my next on the list. Because I'm just like, I know it's not going to be as good as it should be, or I want it to be. I know I've heard it's good, but I know it's going to disappoint me because of what I've wanted from Captain America movies in the past and what I've got from them, even though I like Anthony Mackie, but I'm willing to be surprised. I want to be surprised. Next, let's see, what is next on that list? Okay, I'm going to go Wonder Man is next. I've heard Wonder Man's good. I heard from a good source. I like the idea he teams up with Ben Kingsley.
I do like them returning Ben Kingsley. Yeah,
like that could either be really great or not good. I'm willing to put a pin in that to, like you said, see more in it. But I am excited for it. And Eyes of Wakanda, if Eyes of Wakanda turns out to be really political and really they really dig into the geopolitical situation where Wakanda is and the power structure.
Like it, just based off.
Like
if you look at this image, there's like a Norse person. There's someone that looks like they're like Bedouin.
Well, from what I understand about the show, it's a 4-episode series. And each episode covers a different era's Black Panther and having to retrieve like various artifacts and bring them back to Wakanda. So it's going to be interesting to see how much time jump they do and how at each time period what Wakanda's relationship with the world is at those points.
I'm really fascinated because I love the world of Wakanda as portrayed specifically in Black Panther, really. But then I really did like what they tried to do in Black Panther or Wakanda Forever. And then next would be Daredevil Born Again, which, look, I want it to be great, but I've seen it before. We've had 3 seasons, so we're getting a 4th season of Daredevil, which is exciting. But it's stuff that I kind of know what I'm going to get. So
I
hope
get that,
it's great.
yeah.
The next, number 2 on my list is Thunderbolts. Because Thunderbolts, it looks great. I mean, it looks fun. I like all those actors, like you said. I love all the characters they have. I'd like to see, is Olga Kurylenko playing Taskmaster?
I think so.
I mean, please show her face. Please.
She was runner-up to play Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of hers. I loved her in Quantum of Solace. I'm a Quantum of Solace apologist. I love her. And then number 1, just because I want it to be good, I want to see what it means for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Fantastic Four.
All right, Chris. You're last. What's
There you go.
you get to put out the definitive list now.
Oh,
How
no,
would you
I
rank?
don't. Same with you guys. Zombies is my least anticipated thing. Also read the comics and everything, and they really lost me at Wolverine as a zombie. Of just what? Why don't you?
Shouldn't his
No.
healing factor fix
Yeah,
that?
it made me angry. I would move Spider-Man up a little bit more above Ironheart. And I'd move Wonder Man above Eyes of Wakanda. Spider-Man, especially now that I've actually watched the show, that's what my anticipation level would have been with this original list. I really like the series. I've really been enjoying it. It's so charming. And it's really fun just because we had recently rewatched the Spider-Man films of really clocking the details of, oh my gosh, this introduction is exactly like how our Peter met Tony Stark, like shot for shot little things in there, which is really, really fun. There's a lot of parallels that is cool with the idea of multiverse of, are some things just inevitable? Are some things just always consistent? Kind of like Spider-Verse, those canon events.
Yeah.
But even just little minute things of how Peter flips his keys and opens the door and finds a DVD player that day. That kind of stuff. The voice cast also is phenomenal on that show. Wonder Man, I'm a little more excited about than Eyes of Wakanda, solely for I love the just joke of an actor hired. I think it's great. And being paired with Ben Kingsley's role there too, I think is so fun. And Eyes of Wakanda, I understand why it is 4 episodes, but since we've had an issue with 8 episodes, it's been wait, you're giving me half of that too? Are you going to tell a really cool story for me in these 4 episodes about this show? Or am I going
It's
to watch?
almost like it's a mini anthology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could either be, that's the perfect amount of time for this show, or like so many Marvel properties, I'm going to be left wanting more. And then I feel like, no, the rest of this is the same. My top 4 is the same. Because I'm really excited about
Well,
Thunderbolts.
Rob and I had different top 4s.
No, it was yours on this
Oh,
list.
it's mine.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so you would go Captain America 4, then Fantastic Four, Daredevil.
Yeah.
And you
then
got Thunderbolts at the top of your
I'm
list.
really excited about Thunderbolts. The more I see about this movie, the more excited I am. I already was so juiced about the entire thing solely because of David Harbour and Florence Pugh. I would watch them just eat Kraft macaroni and cheese and call it a day. I would have the best time. But everything I keep seeing about this film just gets me more and more excited.
Yeah, same with, but I got to tell you, there's, the shot of the rocket in Fantastic Four? It's going up into
Yes.
space. That was redolent of a movie that I used to love when I was a kid called The First Spaceship on Venus. And I love those 50s rocket designs. And it looks like it's a little sleeker. I think they've suckered me. Just because they made a rocket look like it's from the first spaceship on Venus, that becomes my number one grossing or number one. Say what you want about me, but that's really what it comes down to.
I mean, it
that
looks like it's
rocket
right out of Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
Like the old Tomorrowland. Yeah.
By the way, Rob over at Comics Explained, who you will see in our live chat every once in a while, but he put out an interesting theory about Fantastic Four. I won't open up the full discussion here. Maybe we'll do this later. But his theory is that the Fantastic Four were in the main MCU timeline and went on a space mission.
Okay.
Everything went nuts. And then they ended up in a different universe. And that they've just been in that universe now for like 10 years.
I've
or
literally had that same theory, but I didn't want to care to bring it up because I figured
Really?
I could shoot it down. That they are from 616 because in Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange says, "Aren't you from the 60s? Or didn't they track in the 60s?" And I know it's a different 60s, but when they go to that world, they think they're in that world of the 60s, but they're in a different
No,
world.
like his theory is that they know they're in a different world, and for like the last 10 years, they've been trying to figure out a way to get home.
Yeah, they
but they're
know.
like celebrities in that
Like,
reality.
eventually they figure it
It's an interesting
out.
theory.
Yeah.
It's an interesting theory.
Really interesting. I had the same thought.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. How would you rank your anticipation level for the upcoming, and Spider-Man, Friendly Neighbor Spider-Man's already kind of mostly here, but for the 9 2025 MCU projects? Are they the same as ours, a little bit different? How would you see them? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, it's time for us to get over to the main part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a moment and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at NordVPN. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. All right, let's be real. There's nothing worse than wanting to stream your favorite show or watch a live game only to find out it's blocked in your country. But But guess what? With NordVPN, that is never a problem. With just one click, you can switch your virtual location and access content from anywhere in the world. I have loved using NordVPN. Whether I'm traveling and using public Wi-Fi or just shopping online, NordVPN keeps my personal info safe and private. By switching my location, I can even save money on flights, hotels, and subscriptions. It's like a cheat code for getting the best deals. NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the world, so there's no buffering when I'm streaming. Plus, their threat protection feature blocks malware, trackers, and phishing attempts, keeping my devices safe 24/7. And with just one account, I can protect up to 10 devices, so my whole setup is covered. So to get the best discount on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/John Campea, and our link will even give you 4 extra months for free on the 2-year plan. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description. Check it out now.
And thank you so much to NordVPN. We appreciate you for making this episode of the John Campea Show. Still John Campea. He's just stepped out for a moment. Possible. Hi, Ray.
Hey.
Welcome. It's good to see you, buddy.
What's up, everyone?
Well, now we are going to get to the most important part of the show, your questions. So, Jonathan, what do we have?
All right. Christopher Rosato says, did you see that when Bucky was sitting in that hearing, he was wearing a pin? That pin is a member of Congress pin. I don't think so. I saw that pin too. So that means Bucky somehow ran and won a political campaign. How can he be a congressman and not Captain America? I think it's a pin for the organization that they're in, like the department that they're in. It's not a.
I don't think it's a congressional
Yeah,
one.
it's not a congressional pin.
And also, we just don't need to open that can of worms of how can you be a politician but have done all these heinous things?
Yeah,
That
that doesn't really seem to matter.
so many on both sides. What else do we have?
We got Juan Epstein says, please listen carefully. Okay, we're listening.
We're listening.
I'm not hearing anything. If the people stop coming to see the trailers, will it raise the ticket prices for us as a trickle-down effect of lost revenue? Not justifying, just asking a question. This is in regards to if we start posting actual movie times, then people would just show up at that time and skip the ads. But I feel like it wouldn't really matter because people come in late to skip the trailers anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that no, you're still putting up that money regardless of whether people are in their seats or not in their seats. I mean, they pay money to put up billboards, and who knows how many people are actually going to be going down that street at any given time or not.
Exactly.
So yeah, you pay to put it there. If people are there, they're there.
If they get seen, they get seen. And also, we know the real money pull at all of these movie theaters is concessions. So if you have those times listed, oh, hey, no, I know the actual movie starts at this time. That gives me more time to go over and get my snacks than when the actual movie starts.
Right.
I feel like that's more of why they would do it. And I feel like advertisers as a whole, or those trailers being placed in front of their, we all know that everyone watches them online first now. No one's doing what John did of like, I'm going to go see Meet Joe Black so I can see the Phantom of the Menace trailer. Or Phantom Menace, excuse me.
Right, exactly.
Phantom.
Phantom of, yeah. Really nailed that one.
The
Really.
Menace.
I love that Andrew Lloyd Webber music. My brain today, my coffee, I think they gave me decaf. What is wrong with me?
There's nothing wrong with
Lord.
you.
Thanks, Ray.
It makes it a little more like fun.
I said shart earlier accidentally.
Did
Come
you? I
on.
didn't even hear that
I said
part.
shot for shart, and
I missed
I'm a
that
mess.
one.
I'm a mess.
Charcoal.
Save Legends of Tomorrow says there's been much discussion about Snow White's North American box office projection and whether it's good or bad. Personally, I agree with you that it's decent, but I think people should be more focused on what the film could do internationally. The Disney live-action remakes fare better internationally, Mufasa being a recent example, and Ziegler's casting should mean a boost in the Latin American box office. $200 million worldwide opening weekend is very possible. What are your thoughts? I think it will do well internationally. I think, but the problem with that is the reason why you don't track that is because not every film is released equally in all markets at the same time. So that's why we don't make the comparison. But I think it will do well. That's why I don't think it's going to do, like we were asked earlier, do you think it'll do under 500 million? No, I don't. I think it's actually going to do quite well, and international is going to carry it.
Well, and this is what we've talked about so much with those live action films is, yeah, they do well internationally. It's just here we tend to not enjoy them on the whole. But even still, a bunch of them, they always recoup their cost. They always do.
I have one requirement for the Snow White film, and
What?
there's only one. Like when I watched the cartoon when I was a kid, and they the witch lady, she got that apple, right? And it was all shiny. It looks so good. They have to make the apple look really good in this movie.
then you go see
That's it. Till this day, I shine my apples up before I eat them, just because they look so. Tell me, even though it was poisonous, I still wanted to eat it.
Huh.
Like in the cartoon, like how shiny is that apple? It looks so good.
Even
am I the
after
only one?
seeing her dip it and it having a skull
Am I the only
on it?
one? Am I the only one?
He's like,
Okay, I
what's she
guess
dip
I'm
it
the
in?
only
That's a
one.
nice like honey glaze. What's
What
going
a
on?
what a great candied apple with poison.
Essentially, it looked like a candy apple.
Yeah.
We got Anonymous who says Jonathan Bailey could be the next James Bond. He's getting talked about in the UK. I loved him in Bridgerton and Wicked, but mostly known for his theater work, currently playing Richard II. He can do it all, and I think he would be brilliant as Bond.
Ooh, that would be interesting. He's a great actor. He's really, really wonderful and versatile. With Bond, one of the things we have to think about too is much like when they do these superhero movies, you are locked into a contract for a long time. You're doing at least 3 pictures. And so for somebody like Jonathan Bailey, who is doing so much stage work, who is doing a very diverse resume building right now, I don't know if Bond would be his next move. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It feels like we've been casting Bond for like.
I know.
1,000
Then they
years.
age out, and we have to do a
Yeah.
new cast.
Just pick one already. Is all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Ronetta W says, "Well, John, I guess you were right. The Eagles straight up throttled the Chiefs. Clap, clap, damn. They said not this time. Halftime show was good for me. K Dot's a genius. Unless you understand who he is, folks won't get it.
Just in time.
Just in time.
I was going to say, that's not a question that I can help with.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guy. An important call came in. I had to take. So yeah, I mean, I told people for a while that's what was going to happen in the game. You know what's funny though? I was talking to Rob and Chris about before the show started because Kendrick's halftime show was baller. I loved it, and was literally standing and dancing the whole time. We had some people over watching the Super Bowl, and she was like dancing the whole time. It was great. I saw this one YouTube video though last night that put it in the form of an argument though that I honestly think is like, don't get me wrong, I hate these somebody think about the children arguments. I hate those. But this one video raised a really good point that what this Kendrick and Drake thing has done inadvertently is that it has not just glorified and promoted, it's basically telling kids, hey kids, if you're in school, you can be really cool and really popular if you humiliate and put other people down in your school. Find some kid that you can pick on and just come up some really funny ways to humiliate them and put them down. And I thought about that for a second because, I hate any time grown ass adults, instead of just getting on a phone with each other and working out their issues, deciding to jump on a public platform and take shots at each other. I think that's pussy behavior, to be honest with you. But that's just a side thing. But it was true. It's like, somebody brought up, what are we telling kids in school? We're telling them, hey, look, everybody, you can be like a halftime performance. You can be celebrated and loved, and everybody will cheer you if you come up with some really cool ways to ruin to ruin another kid in school. And I just thought it's an interesting way that I don't think anybody wants to talk about.
But what's the difference between like a sports commentator saying this player is trash? Like, oh, he's a trash player or whatever. Because that happens all the time on like sports shows. I mean, you're just giving an opinion about maybe not the person, but maybe the talent. I don't know.
But there's a difference here's the difference. There's a difference between me saying, like, I go to see a movie, and my job is to evaluate how good that movie is. Like, so let's say Travis Knight. I say, oh, yeah, Travis Knight didn't do a very good job directing this. All right, that's fine. Travis Knight is an idiot. Travis Knight, Travis Knight does this. Travis Knight is stupid. Travis Knight is Travis Knight, and you start commenting on the person's personal life, right? It's one thing to say, hey, I'm a car reviewer. I review cars. I don't think this Toyota turned this way or turned that way. Or this other guy. Yeah, the guy who designed that car, his wife's ugly. And the guy who designed that car, see, that's the difference. There's a massive difference between commentary on real things and issues, and your purpose is to destroy another person.
But what
That's
else do you
different.
do? What else do you do in a rap battle? That's the way it's always been.
But is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? That's what this video brought up for me was, is it okay to just say, well, that's just the way it is? Because literally you are telling kids in school, you're cool if you pick on another kid.
I don't know.
If you pick on another kid, you're cool. I don't know. Again, it wasn't something I've ever thought of it that way before. And it's just kind of something that made me think about it a little bit. So again, I'm not saying I have the answers. I don't have the answers.
No, it's
I'm
good
just
to
saying it was
think
an
about
interesting thought point.
No, but it's good to think about it critically for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
CM Water says, how much income does a theater get from their ad revenue? I read in a few places it's like 4 to 5% overall.
It's actually think a little bit. It's less than that. It's actually a little bit less.
Now
than
they're talking
that.
about specifically trailers,
Yes, you're talking about trailers,
not
and-
like
and-
Coca-Cola deals.
Yeah, and ad revenue
Yeah.
you put before yourself, and in reality, they don't actually get that much from trailers. They get actually more. Trailers are commercials, but
Sure.
they actually get a little bit more from actual product
Right.
commercials.
Yes.
They get a little bit more from those than anything else. But it's actually, it's quite low. Not a lot below 4 or 5%, but it's a little bit less than that if I remember correctly. All right,
There
what's
you go.
next?
Brad says, hi, John. Was wondering if you had any awareness of the rugby league event taking place in Vegas soon. There's a big push within rugby league for NFL fans to treat league as their summer football fix. And I'm wondering if that's getting across a NA audience.
It's not. I'm not saying it shouldn't. Don't misinterpret me. I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm just saying it's not. Rugby. I remember we took rugby in school. When I was in school, when we do gym class, they taught us rugby as well, but it never caught on. And I don't know if it ever will. Soccer is definitely starting to catch on in North America significantly. But I don't know that rugby will. Again, I'm not saying it shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning whether it will or not.
I think the thing too is like that's specifically going to be for people who only really like NFL but have no interest in basketball or hockey, right, or baseball, because those are running and when the NFL season's over. So you keep competing with that as well.
But having a tournament in Vegas or whatever is a great place to actually have it if you want
Vegas is a great place for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vegas. The world
Man,
goes there, right? It's such a massive.
Yeah, if you
tourist
want to get
place.
people in the seats, I'm actually interested.
All right, what's next?
I think it's Tiny. Hi, John. Rentrack was acquired by ComScore back in 2016. Chinese movies go through the same process as the other movies. If you check ComScore's website, you'll see Nisa listed for the highest grossing movie of the year.
As of 2021, the Chinese theaters did not report the way the rest of the way that global things were through Rentrack at that time. Now, the numbers are still then later equivalated with all the other movies and stuff like that, but their reporting process is significantly different. And that's why ever since I did that one video on it back in 2021, I just don't take Chinese box office reporting seriously. It's not done with the same oversight, and it's not done with the same fact checking, and it's not done with all that kind of stuff that others are. Again, that is not me making an accusation that they are definitively not true. It's just, for me, it raises too many questions for me to take it at face value, and therefore I don't take Chinese box office reporting on Chinese movies in the Chinese market because they don't go through the same standards that other global box office territories do.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, what's next?
Okay, Mitchell, Thunderbolts feels like a culmination type movie. Black Widow, Hawkeye, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Panther 2, all kind of lead into this one. Maybe Cap 4's Fallout leads into it too. Even if it isn't one, still excited for this team. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it is just the very fact that Yelena is there, that Red Guardian is there, that Ghost is there, that Bucky is there, that Walmart Captain America is there, that Taskmaster is there. I mean, they all are characters who have been introduced to us before, other than Bob, who I'm really excited. So yeah, definitely in some way they are a representation and a continuation of a multiple Marvel films coming together. So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually navigate that. All right, what's next?
Mitchell follows up. Also, the trailer for the new Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson film Friendship from A24 presented with horror vibes, but intertext describing it as the funniest movie in years. Was kind of hilarious. Looks good. Tim Robbins is honestly, people don't think of him as a comedic actor. Man, he can be so funny.
He can be hilarious. Yeah. And Paul Rudd, to me, has been a low-key MVP in Hollywood for a while. I remember when the first time I met Paul Rudd and I sat down and talked to him, I kind of compared him to this one baseball great, where it's like, and I can't even remember that I pulled out the name of a player and I can't remember which player it was, but it was a player that's not a household name, but he's like in the top 10 of almost every major hitting category in history. And the first time I sat down with Paul Rudd, I said, because he's a baseball fan, I said, you're kind of like this guy, because just very quietly, you have gone on to amass one of the great Hollywood comedy careers. Like, you kill it every time you're out there. You know what I was talking to him about? I was sitting down talking to him about that. What was that movie where it was like the stupid brother? Or it's like he's the brother and he's got like 3 sisters.
My something brother.
Yeah, dumb brother or my stupid brother.
Someone will
like
probably
that,
bring it
right?
up before I can.
I was sitting down and talking to him about that movie, and I said,
Like
"You're
My Idiot
kind
Brother or
of
something?
you're my idiot brother, maybe."
Yeah.
And I said, "Like you are kind of like that guy," and I totally believe. So whenever Paul Rudd is in anything,
Yeah.
By the way, isn't he in that one coming out where they kill the unicorn?
Yes, Death of
Yes.
the Unicorn.
I-
And Anaconda, which is like what?
Yeah, like he's an anaconda. Whenever Paul Rudd is in anything, it will have my attention. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Steven who says, does the Nicole Kidman AMC advertisement not play in front of Nicole Kidman movies? Only time it didn't play for me was in front of Aquaman 2, which I saw twice. I never saw Baby Girl, so wondering if this happens for everyone else. I think it varies because, like at the AMC 6, they don't really run it at that AMC 6. It's over by the Barnes and Noble in Burbank.
Yeah.
But in the 8 and the 16, they do.
I did see it play in front of Baby Girl. At least I believe. I think it played it. It's hard for me to remember, but I believe it played in front of there. It would make sense if it didn't, because then people would naturally think that was the starting point of the movie, maybe. All I know is like why you've been running the same effing ad for like years now. I just stop it. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, performing artist says, hello, crew. I saw your Oscar nom comments yesterday. Don't count out I'm Still Here as a possible dark horse winner for Best Picture. I expect Denora to win Best Director and possibly Film Editing. I'm Still Here probably a lock for International. I think it has a better for International.
It's not called, the category is not called international.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's called best foreign language picks.
Yeah.
I still think that's going to Amelia Perez. Maybe we'll keep our. No, I don't think it has a shot for Best Picture though. I really don't. I think it's at best running 4th or 5th. At best, it's running 4th or 5th.
I still wouldn't, just knowing the Academy, I still wouldn't be shocked if A Complete Unknown wins. And I don't think
really
it should.
doesn't
I'm not
have
saying
any
it should.
momentum though.
I know. I know. It could just be that one weird surprise thing.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think it will, but.
All right, what's next?
Toybox says, have you seen the trailer for Magazine Dreams? I find it crazy there hasn't been any biz about it. Even I have to look up the trailer myself. It has no advertising.
I did see the trailer. Let me be clear. I am very excited for this movie. I didn't think it was a well put together trailer. Remember, there's still so many movie fans that just think like the director of the movie makes the trailers. They don't. 99.9% of the time, they don't. The studio takes the footage of the movie, goes to a trailer house or a trailer department and says, here, make a trailer out of this. So that's why, like, oftentimes, like the how good or bad a trailer is not indicative for how good or bad a movie is. I did not like the trailer. I don't think anybody's talking about the trailer because I don't think it's a well put together trailer. But I still believe the movie itself is going to be great. I mean, I don't know that it will be because I haven't seen it yet, but I believe the movie will be great. I'm excited about it, but I didn't think the trailer was all that good.
Yeah, but the acting that we saw in those clips of him, there's some.
Well, it's Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, there's
right?
some uniqueness that this man has in is how he portrays the people he plays. It's crazy. I just wish that all that stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Majors is just such a good actor. So he's going to elevate this thing. It's hard to remember though. They made this movie like well over 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was under Searchlight, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was originally going to be a Disney release under the Disney umbrella. I mean, and then it went through a lot of stuff. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing it though. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I watched the trailer for 1,000 Blows with Stephen Graham for Disney Hulu, where he plays a boxer in Victorian London by the people who did Peaky Blinders. A lot of it is historically correct. Even the lady gangsters looks really good. I was sold.
I don't think I've seen that.
I've heard of it, but I have not seen the trailer.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I'm not. Thank you for putting it on my radar. I'll go check it out after the show's done. But I've not seen that yet. All right, what's next?
Okay, Jack, this is our last of the tip questions. John, will you be checking out Canada in the Four Nations face-off tourney this week?
Yep.
Glad to see Sid participating and donning the C. Yeah, that crept up on me. I couldn't believe we're already at that time of the year, and here we are in the Four Nations thing. Because I was just thinking it was like still regular season, you know?
My mom and Sid's mom went to school together. Really weird, right?
Yeah.
And it's weird thinking about, I'm sorry, it's weird for me thinking about Sid the Kid now kind of being the old veteran in the league. But he's one of the all-time greats. But yeah, I will absolutely be watching Four Nations. 100% I'll be watching that. All right, what do we got next?
We got some members here. Hosea says, John, how awesome was Zhang Wei Li at UFC 3?
She was incredible.
312. The fact she was the underdog was crazy. She dominated Suarez 99% of the fight on the feet and on the ground. Remarkable.
Listen, it's not that crazy that she was an underdog when you watch Suarez's career.
Suarez is so good. She
was not only unbeaten and undefeated, she wrecked people. And I mean, so yeah, it's crazy that Zhang Wei Li was an underdog. Yeah, that's crazy because that woman is bad. That woman is a bad man, like really. But it wasn't all that crazy that she was actually a little bit of an underdog. But I mean, her greatness is unquestioned. She's an incredible fighter. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, I learned today that AMC's Oscar Showcase is only playing in one theater in my state in Tennessee. That's in Franklin. Crazy that it's not available in Memphis, Knoxville, or Chattanooga. I'm bummed that my city isn't getting that showcase because I still need to see 5 of the pictures. I do like when they do that. They're definitely doing that in Burbank, of course.
Yeah, they're definitely doing it here. The AMC Oscar Showcase is something they do pretty much every year, where they take a weekend and they show all the best picture. Remember, it was hard for them to continue the tradition because it used to be 5 nominees for Best Picture. A lot easier. Now they showcase all 10, but they don't do it in every theater because it is a lot of time eating up screens.
Yeah.
Right? It's eating up a lot of hours on screens. And screens are valuable. And it's a lot of people aren't going to rush out to see things that have already been in theaters that year. So it's, yeah, the theaters, the programmers have to make tough choices, and it's just not going to be in every theater, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Sorry, wrong one. We got percentage chance we see or get a mention of each of these characters in Thunderbolts. Wilson Fisk, who's the mayor of New York, Spider-Man, who should be around, and Kamala Khan. Well, there's a time difference, I think, with Daredevil.
But I don't know how far ahead it is. I mean, it's possible, but guess what? Lots of people are in New York. How big is New York? 12 million people?
It's a lot.
9 million people? Just because this happens in New York doesn't mean Spider-Man has to be mentioned.
And I think tonally wise, Kamala Khan being in that is going to be.
Yeah. And so honestly, I think the chances are very low. I mean, obviously Avengers are going to be mentioned. There's going to be some stuff and maybe Wilson Fisk gets brought up, but I really don't think it's likely. All right. What's next?
Joe Howland says, hey, John, hope your day is going great. I was disappointed in the halftime show with the Super Bowl. What was your take on it? Vans, did you hear the boos of Taylor Swift? There was a lot of boos that day.
Well yeah, but here's the thing about the Taylor Swift thing. Everybody's misinterpreting it.
Yeah.
If you heard the introduction of the Kansas City Chiefs and then the introduction of the Philadelphia Eagles, almost that whole stadium booed the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
Everybody knows that Taylor Swift is there for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And she used to be an
Eagles fan, if you put her up, they're going to boo. So whatever. I thought the halftime show thumped. I thought it was so good. Like I said, my wife Ann was literally like, she never sat down for an entire second. She was literally up dancing in our living room And our dog Shadow does not like people dancing, and she starts. So Shadow was like barking at Anne. She doesn't like it when people dance. I don't know why Shadow doesn't like it when people dance, but I thought it was great. The integration of Samuel L. Jackson into it was great. The audio levels were near perfect. It was well choreographed. I'm not saying it's the best halftime show ever. It's not, but I thought it was a pretty damn great halftime show. I thought it was really good. That's just me personally.
I kind of feel like it was like with the Dr. Dre one. Like,
Oh,
you
that
kinda
one
had
was
to,
the best.
But you kind of had to like that
Yeah.
style of music, you know, or else.
See, I thought like where they had Snoop and Dre and Eminem, and by the way, Kendrick Lamar came out in that one too.
yeah.
I thought I love that halftime show too. I thought this one was even better. Just the whole the flow of it, the choreography of it. You reminds me a lot. Was the Beyonce Christmas Day halftime show, was that also presented by Apple Music?
I never.
I can't remember, but man, it reminded me a lot of that Beyonce halftime show, because that Beyonce halftime one they did earlier in the year was also great. But yeah, I thought the halftime show was great.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Flip the script says, what kind of a role could Star-Lord actually play in Doomsday Secret Wars? It's interesting because we know he's returning, but
It's like asking, you can ask that of any character.
yeah.
Like, what kind of role would they play? They're going to be somebody as involved and as affected by the events as anybody else. Same kind of role that Kamala Khan might play, or that War Machine might play, or that Captain Marvel might play, or that whatever. Really, you could kind of fit them in any way you can. And don't forget, this will not be a beat for beat retelling of the comic story, because Civil War was very unlike Civil War. Age of Ultron was very different from Age of Ultron. It's going to be its own unique thing, so it really could be anything. All right, what's next?
Okay, Matt says, hey, crew, Euphoria Season 3 just started shooting it. Can't wait. I didn't realize it was going to be a third season of Euphoria. I just thought it was done after 2.
We're talking about the
HBO Euphoria. I'm
the
assuming.
Zendaya show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard, or what? I thought it was going to season 4. Yeah, I heard they were
okay.
finally doing that. You know, it's more exciting though.
Uh-huh.
They've already started shooting Severance season 3.
Oh wow.
So
Oh.
instead of having
Yeah.
to wait 3 years for the next season of Severance.
Thank you.
By the way, how good was the last episode of Severance?
It's trippy.
The one where they're outside?
Yeah. Really?
That,
I'm
how
still
good was that
wondering
ending
what-
though? How good was that ending to
Yeah.
that episode? That was so good. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Okay, Chip Crisper says, hey, John and crew, just wondering if y'all had a chance to watch the Tim Robinson and the trailer for Friendship. Yeah, we were
No,
just talking
haven't
about
seen
that.
it yet, but I'll have to do that this afternoon.
Yeah, Scotty says, do you think the Weapon X program will be mentioned in Cap 4 Thunderbolts?
No, I don't. Again, not saying it won't, but if you're asking me what I think, my pure guess is no, it won't.
Yeah, and if he's simply because of the adamantium, it's like they wouldn't have just discovered adamantium and then like, you know what would be cool? Let's put this
Let's put this on somebody's bones. Yeah.
King Daddy
Okay.
King Daddy Goat says, hey, John and crew, I haven't heard you all discuss The Monkey much and didn't know if y'all were going to check it out. It's gotten good reviews so far and looks really intriguing in my opinion. It's about a week from Friday. Kind of feels like a Final Destination type of thing.
we did do, when the first trailer dropped for it, we did a little discussion about it. You're right. Final Destination is the complete vibes.
Yeah.
It's almost like whatever you do, it'll track you down. It's inevitable. And it's going to be some weird creative way that it kills you.
Yeah, something's going to
Quite
fall over and knock your head off.
frankly, it almost feels a little bit like a Final Destination ripoff.
I
in a
know.
way.
Yep.
But that's Theo James in it, right? Yeah. Theo James coming off of his series, The Gentleman, which I thought was great. It looks fun. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it looks fun. All right, let's take one more.
Okay, this is timely. I'm just gonna say Uma. Hi, John and crew. Do you think if Cap 4 gets a bad reception, it will hurt Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four?
Thunderbolts, yes. Fantastic Four, no. What will affect Thunderbolt, or what will affect Fantastic Four, is the movie that comes out before that, and that's Thunderbolts. So, like, if Cap 4 disappoints, it's going to hurt Thunderbolts. But if Thunderbolts is great, then Cap 4's performance will have no impact on Fantastic Four, right? So, yeah, I mean, listen, if you put out an MCU movie and people go to it and say, well, that was terrible and I had a bad time, they are less incentivized to be excited about the next Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So will it hurt? Yeah, now don't get me wrong. Let's say for argument's sake that Thunderbolts was going to make $500 million. Let's say we could look into the future and say, all other things being equal, Thunderbolts is going to make $500 million. It's not like if Captain America 4 is bad, that $500 million is going to turn into $200 million. But it'll impact. It will have an effect, just not like a huge mass effect, but it will have an effect. But I don't think it'll have any effect on Fantastic Four. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Hey guys, don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. And just a reminder, tonight, we will be doing Reaction Watch for Captain America Brave New World as the first reactions for it come out. I'll start going live somewhere between 8:45, 9 p.m. Los Angeles time. If you guys want to come by and join me for that, it'll be good to have you guys here. So for everybody in the room, Ray Ora,
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys.
Big thanks to Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett for being here. And until next time, my friends, Fisto.